And before we end our tutorial, we will give some directions of the recommendations we can look ahead. And recommender systems technique have been widely used in real-world applications, especially in critical systems such as the stock investment recommendation in business and food or drug recommendation in healthcare area, and so on. However, along with their rapid and impressive development, recommender systems have also exposed their untrustworthy sides and the dark sides. Therefore, how to build trustworthy recommender systems has become an important topic in both academia and industry. So in this section, we mainly focus on 5 of the most crucial dimensions in achieving trustworthy recommender systems. They are privacy, safety and robustness, explainability, non-discrimination and fairness, and accountability and auditability. And the success of the recommender systems is built up on the large-scale data set, and this data may contain private and sentiment information, from the credit card data to the medical records, or from the social relations to family trees. So to build trustworthy recommender systems, the safeties of privacy and the sentiment information carried by the data and the models must be guaranteed. Therefore, increasing attention has been paid to the protections and regulations of the privacy in recommender systems. And the next one is the explainability issue. And before we dive into the explainability issue, let's look at the typical procedures on how recommender system work. We have the user item interaction training data set, fuse them into the recommender system, says the graph neural network to change the algorithm. Then we output the recommendation results. In most cases, the recommender systems here are treated as black box, since most models are too complicated to be understood, as well as they are developed without any explainability. Here, you may query the decisions made by the recommender systems, like why did the systems do that? Why not something else, and so on. And moreover, for different users, they may have different requirements on explanations. For example, for stock trainers in business, they may care about whether the decision can be trusted. And for the system designer, they are more interested in how do they monitor or debug their recommendation model. And for the data science, they want to know, is this the best model they can build now? Therefore, to build a trustworthy recommender system requires understanding on how particular decisions are made. Ideally, the deep recommendation model should have a high level of learning performance, as well as can produce explanations on the predictions, so as to have the explainable recommendation model. In this scenario, then the users can understand why and why not and when, etc. for the predictions. The next one is the discrimination and fairness issue. And with the rapid spread of our recommender systems in our daily lives, and more evident indicates that the recommender systems show our human-like discrimination bias and make unfair decisions. For example, a job recommendation system promotes more STEM employment opportunities to male candidates than the female candidate. As a recommender system plays an increasingly important role in enhance our life, fairness in recommender system is closely related to us and need considerable attention. And recently, a few work has emerged to define and recognize and measures and mitigate the bias in recommendation algorithm. Also, we have mentioned before the deep recommender systems are vulnerable to adversarial attacks. The attacker can manipulate data to fool recommender systems. Therefore, it's also necessary to build robust recommender systems so as to defend against these potential attacks. And the last one is the auditability and accountability issue. In general, accountability for recommender systems indicates how much we can trust these recommender system techniques and who or what we should blame if any part of the recommender system techniques performed below our expectation. For example, a recommender system recommend violence and movie to children. Who or what we should blame? So the trustworthy recommender system should be accountable, which means it's clear who is responsible for each part of recommender systems. And to better specify the accountability, it's necessary to determine the roles and the corresponding responsibilities of different parties in the function of recommender systems. They are the system designers and the system makers and system deployers and the system audience and end users. And then each roles have their own responsibilities and obligations. At last, and actually an ideal trustworthy recommender system should simultaneously satisfy these 5 dimensions discussed before. In reality, these 5 dimensions are not independent of one another. The satisfaction of one dimension can promote the purchase of another one. Meanwhile, the conflict exists amongst different dimensions. There is the realizations of one dimension can violate another dimension, which make it impossible for 2 or more dimensions to be met at the same time in some scenarios. And for more information regarding the trustworthy recommender systems, you can refer to our survey papers and our tutorial, Trustworthy AI, a computational perspective. In this survey, we introduce a comprehensive surveys on the Trustworthy AI. Please feel free to read this, and if you are interested in trustworthy techniques and want to use to enhance your recommender systems. And this is the end of our tutorial. And last but not least, and thank you for this great opportunity given by the IJCAI' 2021. That is all thanks all of the NAMA from DSE, and thanks for the funding support from all organizations. And a great thanks our dear audience for your patient listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us like the Professor Jinan Tang, Xiangyu Zhao, and me. Also, we are looking for self-motivated PhD student, research assistant, or postdoc who are interested in data mining or machine learning. Please send us an email with your CV if you are interested. Thank you all. And if you have any questions, you can